Hey, what's up? What's going on? I'm back again because the first video I did for Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta Season 1 Episode 7, I recorded with the wrong microphone on and it sounds horribly, so I'm going to try to do it again. So anyways, here we go. Growing Up Hip Hop Atlanta Season 1 Episode 7, OMG. Let me tell you, the ending of the episode was like OMG, because you see Bow Wow's father, he's up in the Uber and he's crying his heart out. He's all like, my son, I want to see my son, I miss my son. And he was like, I be in a daze. He might be in a daze because he's missing alcohol. He'd be like, the TV just be on and just be glaring and I just be staring at it. I don't even watch TV. And the Uber driver's looking like, okay, what's going on? And so then you see Bow Wow, he's in the studio, and so then the production calls him and tell him that there's your father's on his way to the studio. And Bow Wow was like, how did this happen? How does he know where I'm at? And so the producer said that it was Deb Apney probably gave the location or whatever. So do you believe that's true? Do you believe Deb would, set Bow Wow up like that? Do you believe that, since, Bow Wow father has, Alfonso has relapsed, and, and he was coming on to her, and he was talking all like slurring his words the last time he talked to her, that she was just like, here's the address, here's the location. Do you think that she would really do that? Or do you think production set that up and threw Deb's name into it and make her take the fall for Alfonso showing up? Because we know that Bow Wow said that he did not want to speak to his father. He did not want to see his father. And he told Deb that. And he said he doesn't want his father to be showing up anywhere that he's at, out of surprising him or whatever. And Deb was like, I totally understand. And I believe she said that she wasn't gonna have no parts in anything of that happening. But it was so crazy. So Bow Wow, he's sitting there and he was like, this dude is taking forever. He better hurry up because I'm getting hot. I'm going to fuck this motherfucker up. I'm going to beat his ass. He was just going off and he was like, I can't believe this dude wants to see me. This ain't no Dr. Phil. He was like, if he wanted to talk to me and be a father, he should have did that 20 years ago. I'm 30 years old. I'm a grown man. I don't need this. I don't need that. And he was upset and he was mad. And so hopefully him and Deb, they talk, and Deb has nothing to do with it or whatever. Because it doesn't seem like she would do it, but it's not far-fetched. But like, OMG. And then, Alfonso's just in the SUV just crying, wiping his eyes, his face under here is all puffy and the whole night. He's just telling his life story. And so I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. I was like, yo, that is some type of setup, let me tell you. But you know what? His father said he really wanted to see him and he wasn't joking. He got in that Uber. The cameras are there, the mic's there. He's going to see his son, win or lose or whatever. He's going to see his son. So anyways, let's start from the beginning. I'm trying to do it exactly like I did the first video, but that's not going to happen. So anyways, Deb, she meets up with Brandon. Brandon, he has a look on his face. But anyways, I'm going to get back to the last episode when, Deb said to Brandon that, like, yo, listen, you don't lose control. You don't, like, discipline your artists in front of everybody. If you lose control, your artists lose control. You can't be acting like this. You can't be, you can't do what you did, Brandon. You can't do what you did on stage and make a big commotion out of this situation with your artist forgetting her lyrics. And so, Miss Deb, she did that in front of everybody, you know what I mean? So it's like the same thing that she was telling Brandon not to do, she did to Brandon by disciplining him in front of everybody and yelling at him in front of everybody, and also taking on the showcase, talking about, oh, was the sound, this is not gonna happen, and calling Brandon name out like if he was a boy or a child. So it's like the same type of respect that she wants him to give his artist, and she needs to give him the same respect as well, even though he is her godson. And then on top of that, the way Deb Apney took, his artist right from underneath him, stole his artist. She didn't even steal her. She just took her right in front of his face. No question asked. And that is where it goes wrong, and I believe, because now, people are going to assume now, oh, I get close to Brandon, I can really get to Deb because Deb might sign me up, because look what she just did on We TV show or whatever. And whoever was out there in the audience or who was outside when the commotion took place on the last episode. So anyways, Deb and Brandon, they're chilling in the restaurant, whatever. That's some soul food spot, getting some soul food. And so Deb is like, look at the look on your face. You some people carry their feelings on their face. Look at that face. And his face looked like he was turned, like he was not feeling too good. And she was like, sometimes people carry their feelings on their face. And so then Brandon was like, let's talk about the showcase. And Deb was like, yeah, you want to talk about the showcase? Let's talk about it. She was like, it was messed up. It wasn't together. They should have had sound check. There should have been something else going on than what happened. It was terrible. She was like, it was an awful showcase. It didn't look good. And, you really did the artist a disadvantage. And then Deb is in her, professionals, don't ask me the truth if you don't really want to know the truth. And so Brandon is sitting there like, and she was like, she was like, didn't you hear of sound check? Check the microphones, check that it's working. And then her confession was like, you asked me to be a judge, you called me for help. So maybe next time Brandon won't ask his mom for help when it comes to a public platform with doing a showcase, because if it goes wrong, she's gonna call you out on it ASAP. So anyways, so Brandon was like, yeah, but the same thing that you said to my ex-artist, I guess, it's the same thing I said to her. It's the same exact words. And Deb was like, it's because I'm Deb Acne. That's who I am. And then Brandon was like, I'm Brandon Bobs. And she was like, I did a lot more. My name's are in these streets. People know me. Everybody knows me. I build my career, I have a foundation. Yours is just beginning, baby. But she didn't say it's just beginning, baby, or whatever. And Brandon was like, but we said the exact same thing. And Brandon was like, I feel like people only want to get close to me to be around the people that are around me, the people that are in my inner circle. And he was like, and I feel like you got a lot to do with that, Deb. And Deb was like, what? You feel? So it's basically Brandon's just like saying that people know that basically if they get next to me, they can get next to you, and you might give them a chance, because of the way, Deb took his last artist right in front of us last Thursday. So anyways, Deb was like, what? She's looking at him like, she was like, I can't believe you're going to let something get under your skin like that. You need to have tougher skin. You need to have thicker skin if you're going to be in this business. And basically, that's like some of the things that Brandon has said to Zanique, tougher skin. And he has said that to some of his other artists, you need to have tougher skin and things like that. And so now, Deb was like, okay. Deb was like, I know you're not trying to come at me like that. She's feeling like Brandon's trying to come for her and trying to disrespect her. And she was like, Deb was like, if you're gonna have the mind, if you're gonna go with that type of mindset, and then you're going to cross me, then you better figure out another game. You better get another game. Because she was like, if you're gonna keep that mindset and then you're gonna try to cross me or anything like that, you better get out this game, because it's not what you want to do. It's not what you want to do, baby. And she goes, you just open up the Pandora box. And she's letting him know, a godson or not, I'll get in that ass. And so anyways, and she was like, you just walked into the Pandora box. Basically, what she's telling Brandon. So, Brandon always got words of feedback and coming back. He couldn't come back to Miss Deb. So anyways, this is one thing I didn't want to throw in that I believe I threw in the last video. I don't know if you guys watch Married to Medicine, but if you watch Married to Medicine, I think Dr. Simone, her father died, and he was suffering from alcoholism or whatever. And then she took a week's trip to go find him or whatever with her friends, and she couldn't find him. And then maybe a month or two later, they found his body, and, nobody knew where he was. Nobody even knew that he was dead or whatever. So in my opinion, I think it's really important that Bow Wow kind of like meets up with his father and try to help him. If he doesn't have a relationship, at least get him into a sobriety house or get him into rehab. I just say for conscience, because sometimes people just need help, even though they messed up, even though Simone's father was more in her life than Alfonso Bow Wow's father's in his life. But it is what it is. So anyways, back to the show. So Deb gets a phone call from Alfonso, and he's kind of upset because he was like, yo, I thought you was gonna have me meet up with my son. I thought the meeting that we just had a week ago or a day ago, that you were going to make sure it happened, that I meet with my son and I talk to my son. I really want to see him. I miss my son. So what was that meeting about or whatever? So then Deb is telling him that, like, hey, listen, I talked to the brat. She doesn't think that's a good idea because he's getting distracted. I don't think it's a good idea for you to go see Bow Wow or whatever. I right now don't think it's good timing. And so Deb said, you know what I'm going to try to do? I'm going to try to put a little Tweety bird in his ear and see what's up and see what happens. And I'll get back to you, basically. And so, but I believe Deb said, it's not a good idea for you to just go show up and go see him, because Alfonso did say that he was going to go find his son or whatever. And she was like, hold on, just wait a minute. Let me put a little Tweety bird in his ear and then, I'll get back to you or whatever. And so he was like, okay, thank you, baby. And so basically that's what happens. And so then we get to the studio with the brat and Bow Wow. Bow Wow's rapping, and he's dissing Funk. He was like that punk funk, Flunk Master Flex. I can't stand him. I don't like him. So anyways, Bow Wow was like, I'm back in the studio. I don't have writer's block anymore. I'm making music. All I needed was that push, and I got it from people dissing me or whatever. So the brat shows up. The brat's happy to see Bow Wow's in the studio making music. She feels like he got a hit. She's dancing. She was liking the music. She was like, oh, go Bow Wow. He's back. And so then Bow Wow says that he really respects, the brat's opinion, because the brat is the first female rap artist that went platinum. And I didn't know that. Go brat. Go brat. So it was so good to hear that news. And so anyways, so we move on from that. So then Deb, she ends up texting Bow Wow while he's in the studio and saying that she needs to talk to him. He's like, okay, I'll see you tonight. They meet up at some bar / club / lounge or something like that or whatever. And so she goes up to Bow Wow. She tells him, hey, I talked to your father. Bow Wow's upset. He was like, yo, I wish you wouldn't do that. I wish you wouldn't mind your business. And Bow Wow was like, I would do anything for you, but this is one thing that I can't do. I don't want to do this. And so he was like, yo, I wish Deb would have just minded her business. This is what he said in his confessionals. Like, I wish she didn't get into my personal life, my personal business, my private life or whatever. So then Deb says to him that your father really looks good. He really wants to see you. He's really sad. And he was crying. And Bow Wow was like, them tears in his eyes or whatever. That's what alcoholics get, the water and stuff in their eyes or whatever. And so Deb was like, okay, I understand. And, Bow Wow was like, yo, I don't want him to pop up on me. I don't want to see him. I don't want him to surprise me somewhere, anything like that. And so I believe Deb said, oh, I'm not going to do anything like that or whatever. So Deb, the conversation ends. And so then we get to, Zonique and Deb, they talk. And so Zonique calls Deb and was asking Deb, hey, did you like my song, whatever. Deb was like, yeah, I like your song. We need to get a team together for you. We need to do a showcase for you, and we also need to have a listening party for you. So, and Deb was like, I like the new music. Zonique is happy, so everything's all good. And so then Brandon, so then we get to Regine. Regine is on her couch in her living room, and she was like, oh, look at Brandon commenting on my Instagram. So I guess the Brandon and Regine stuff is still going on, but I bet you they're friends. And so anyways, Toya comes in the house, whatever. So then Regine says to her mother, hey, listen, I have an idea, a book idea, a mama and daughter book that we can actually put together. I'll write half, you write half, because Toya was talking about all, like her mother's always been on drugs, and she's still been on drugs. She's still on drugs to this day. They didn't have a relationship. And so then Regine was like, yeah, that makes sense for us to write a book about things that we do as mother and daughter, and like sometimes when the parents are not around and all that other stuff. So then they agree. So then Toya was like, hey, listen, you have to do your half of the book. I'm not going to do it all. And so Regine was like, you got a publishing company, you got this, you got that, you already know the foundation. So Toya was like, hey, I want you to do part, I want you to do half, do your part, and I'll do my part, and then we can make it happen or whatever. And so Toya's telling Regine, I want you to go to college, I want you to do this and that, I want you to get an education. Regine was like, I really don't like school, you already know this. So anyways, but we kind of understand why Regine don't want to go to college, because you remember on the internet, Regine, like her best friend, kind of got jumped a little bit at like a sorority party or fraternity party or whatever. So anyways, we understand why she don't want to go to college. So anyways, they make an agreement. Reginae is supposed to do her part. She's supposed to come back with like a blueprint. She's supposed to come back with like things that, like an outline of what the book is supposed to be about, and what, and all that other stuff, so they can do a photo shoot, a book signing, all that good stuff. So anyways, moving on. And so we all know Reginae ain't gonna do shit. She ain't gonna do a goddamn thing. Oh god. So anyways, Brandon is rehearsing with Brave or whatever. And so when Brandon walks in the house, Brandon's like, did you guys stretch already? They was like, yeah, we stretched. And it was like, oh, so you just sit here and you ain't doing nothing? And so like so I guess they're in Deb's house, so they go downstairs in the basement or whatever. And so then they're doing their moves, whatever. And Brandon's like, hold up, stop. Do you think that was good? Do you think what you did was good? Do you think that was okay? Do you think superstars get on stage with that type of energy? And it was like, no, blah, blah, blah. And so then the girl said, all the stuff that we've done so far, do you think that we'll be ready to see Deb would like us? And then Brandon was like, why would you care about what Deb thinks in his confessional? You should care about what I think. I'm Brandon Barnes. I'm the one that's training you. Brandon was like, I'm the one that put you guys together, put you in a group, got you choreography, got you singing, got you a song, got all this for you, and you worried about what Deb thinks? You should worry about what I think. Then Brandon says to them, hey, listen, do you think I'm a good artist development? They was like, yeah. Brandon was like, do you think I'm doing a good job? They was like, yeah. And then they was like, so then he was like, so then why you care what Deb thinks? And so Brandon's going on and on and on. And I believe Brandon can talk to these girls any way he wants to, because he feels like they're on the same level. With Zanique, he couldn't really go in like that because, she got, T.I. as a father, and like she has a little bit of star power, I guess, you know what I mean? So with these girls, he can actually go in depth with them, and no one's gonna interfere with what he says to them or whatever. But it's like, Brandon, you should be a preacher, you should be charged of the choir, you should be assistant pastor, because the way that you are stern with your speeches, and I could see you in church talking about God said this and he said that, what you doing? I can just totally see Brandon preaching. So anyways, so keep moving. So then Brandon ain't liking that, though. He ain't liking that everybody wants to get next to him. They care about what Deb thinks. They care about what Deb thinks is because she has a foundation, and you can help with their foundation just like Deb can help with your foundation. It's just like one hand washes the other. But Brandon wants to be out of her shadow, but right now I think you kind of need to be in Deb's shadow so you can get there and get up there. So anyways, because everyone needs training, some people are born stars and some people are not. So anyways, so Zanique, Shania, Ayana, and Reginae, they meet up to go do yoga or whatever. And so then, Reginae is all like, Brandon commented on my Instagram page, and I was like, And so then, Zonique, she's all happy. She was like, I'm going to have a listening party, and I'm going to be getting a team together and all this other stuff. You guys are all invited. So Reginae was like, well, if Brandon is going, I'm not going. I see Reginae knows his name now, huh? And so, then, what's her name? Ayana is like, listen, if you say anything else about Brandon or Brandon this or anything else, I'm going to want to fight. So Shania, she laughs, and Shania was like, woo, because Shania was like, she's serious. And so, Zonique smiles because they know Ayana's serious, and even Reginae knows Ayana's serious, and Reginae was quiet. But all these three young ladies, they look beautiful. They're so pretty. And Ayana is just, her face is so gorgeous. The way that she does her makeup. And so is Shania. So is Reginae. Her hair and the brown color she had in it, how it was curled back, looked beautiful. And Zonique, her hair was pretty in the blonde. It was all curly and wavy. But anyways, so Ayana was like, listen, she say one more thing about Brandon, I'm going to jump up and beat that ass. We going to fight. And, Ayana knows that she's 18 now. They can get up and down. So anyways, moving on from that. So, Reginae didn't talk no junk, didn't get smart back with Ayana, didn't say nothing back to Ayana. She said her shit in her confessionals because Ayana was ready to jump that ass. Even though violence is not the key, but every now and then some people need to get smacked around. I guess. Not everybody needs to get smacked around, but you know what I mean. Because I don't want to be promoting violence and shit like that. So anyways, Deb is in her office, and guess who calls? Deb calls Alfonso to find out what's going on with him or whatever. And so that Alfonso immediately says, oh, nobody answered my phone calls. Nobody calls me back. I called Bow Wow on his birthday. I've been trying to talk to him. Everyone said they're going to call me back. Nobody was going to call me back. I'm being let down. I just want to see my son. I miss my son. And he's kind of slurring his words, and he kind of sounds like he's intoxicated or whatever. And so Deb is automatically assuming that he has relapsed or whatever. And so Deb is like, what? And so then he says to Deb, so what's up with me and you? What's your plans for me and you? And Deb is like, is this motherfucker trying to come on to me or something? No way. So Deb puts the phone down. She was like, oh, what have I got myself into? I should have mind my goddamn business. And so now she's feeling like, I shouldn't have never done this. I should have just stayed out of it. Hey, it is what it is. You did what you did. You tried to do good. Sometimes when you try to do good, it doesn't come out good. It comes out bad. It happens to the best of us. We have good intentions, and sometimes it goes wrong. Doesn't mean that you're a bad person or you did something wrong. You had good intentions. It just didn't work out. That's it. You're trying to bring two families together, trying to get rid of generational curses. You tried to do your part. You know God is only going to bless you, Deb, so don't worry about it. So anyways, Alfonso was like, so what's your plans for me and you, baby? Hey, baby, I want some of that big booty Deb. Shit's too funny. So anyways, the conversation really goes nowhere because he's intoxicated. He sounds intoxicated. Deb feels he's intoxicated. I don't know if he's intoxicated because I am right next to him. So anyways, Deb said, did you relapse? He was like, no, I didn't relapse. I'm just missing my goddamn son. I want to see my son. I want to see my motherfucking son. So anyways, it is what it is. And so, Deb was like, okay, I understand, but, I guess, I don't know what Deb really said to him. And I guess she said Bow Wow might not want to talk to you or something like that. I don't think she says anything about Bow Wow because he wasn't trying to give her 2 words in because he was just really strictly on trying to see his son and hoping that he can see his son or whatever. So anyways, we get to, and Deb feels like, damn, it's my fault. I should have never done this. And Deb feels like, damn, if that man goes up there to see Bow Wow and Bow Wow punches him in the face and knocks him out, Deb said, I feel like it'd be my fault, that it's my fault or whatever. And true indeed, but hey, you can't control other people's actions, but sometimes we can set up situations where actions might become negative. But hey, you're trying to do a good thing, man, because people die every day. And sometimes, you don't want him to be wishing and missing, wishing and hoping that he did build some type of relationship with his father. It's neither here or there. But it was here or there in that Jeep when he was pulling up to the studio. So anyways, Brandon meets up with Ayanna. And Ayanna is telling. So first thing Brandon says to Ayanna, he's all like, I feel like people always want to be around me because of my mom and all this other stuff. And so then Ayanna jumps in, was like, well, Zonique is having a listening party, and he was like, for what, a song or something, or an album release? And she was like, it was for a song. So basically Brandon was questioned Ayanna to make sure that she didn't have a bunch of songs. It was just a song. It was just a listening party or whatever. And so then Brandon was like, well, I'm gonna have to talk to Deb, and asking why she doing this. And then Ayanna was like, you ain't gonna talk to Aunt Deb and ask her why she doing her business. You know better than that. Brandon was like, I'm gonna talk to her. And so it's too funny. So Ayanna is so cute. They're cute together too as cousins, and they're seen together. So anyways, Brandon's upset. He don't know why Deb is helping, Zanique. But, Brandon, didn't you give Zanique the blessing to work with Deb or whatever? And she told you up front that she want to work with Deb. So why wouldn't she be working with Deb? So anyways, Brandon said he's going to talk to her. So then we get Toya and Regine. They meet up. And so Toya tells Regine, hey, listen, I got half of my stuff for the book that I'm going to write down. So what have you done? And Regine was like, I haven't done anything. I've been busy. It's the last semester of school. I got so much going on. And so then, Toya was like, I don't want to hear that. You always do this. It was like, you always come up with an idea and then you don't finish it. You want me to finish it. It's the same thing with your room. You let everything distract distract you. You know what I mean? She's just like, come on, you can't be doing this. She was like, I'm not going to do it all for you. You have to put some effort into it as well. So Reginae was like, oh my God, why are you taking it so serious? Why are you on my back? Why are you getting amped for it? It don't make no sense. I'll do it when I do it. Like I told you, I'll get it done when I get it done or whatever. And so then, you know, Toya was like, you know what? All right, whatever. Don't come to me. Don't ask me anything. You know, do your own thing or whatever. Point blank, period. I'm done. And so then, you know, Reginae was like, oh, well, I'll do it myself. I'll write my own book. I'll do my own book and you won't be in my book. And so Toya was like, good. So then, boom. They're too funny. So anyways, we already know Toya's going to write the whole book and put it together, and Reginae's going to stamp her name on it. So just like with the birthday party, the 90s party. So anyways, we get from that. So then we get Deb, we get Zonique and some other lady. And basically they're interviewing people for a team for, you know, Zonique or whatever. So then who come down the stairs? None other than Brandon Barnes. And Zonique is like, Brandon, what are you doing here? And then Brandon says to Deb, what are you doing here? And then Deb says to Brandon, what are you doing here? And Brandon was like, I'm here just to make sure that you don't take over Zonique's career and be all, you know, full-fledged in control, because Brandon's like, you know, you stole my artist and you like to take control over everything and not give anybody a say. So basically he said that in his confessions. So then Brandon was like, oh, let me go take a seat. So Brandon went to go take a seat and they're looking at him and he was like, next. And then the person came up, and so then the person, I think Deb asked the question, or somebody asked the question about like, what kind of music do you think Zonique is in or whatever? And Zonique was like, and so the person said she's like a new age Aaliyah. She's like Aaliyah. And so then Deb goes off. Deb was like, I hate when people do that. Compare somebody else to another artist. She's in her own lane. She's her own artist. Now you're going to be working to get her to look and sound like Aaliyah. That doesn't make any sense. And then Brandon stops Deb. He was like, it was a mistake. It was an honest mistake. Everybody makes a mistake. It's not a big deal. You know, the question that was asked to him. And so that doesn't mean that he can't, you know, learn something else new, but it was an honest mistake. So you don't need to go at him like that. People do make mistakes, Deb. Even though that's one of your pet peeves, he can learn from the situation. Everybody can learn. You don't have to be all on him and yelling at him like that. And so then, Deb is like, oh, we're not going to have this back and forth. We're not going to do this. We're not going to do this at all. You're not going to come here and do this to me. So Deb gets up and she walks away. She bounces. And then Zonique says in her confessional that, oh my God, the apple don't fall far from the tree. And she was like, oh, she don't know what she got herself into, because she's now realizing that Deb and Brandon are exactly alike. In all my other videos, I address Toya being a mother, I address Bow Wow's father, and I address all this in all the other episodes that I reviewed or whatever. So take a look at that. So anyways, Brandon's sitting there, and Brandon knew that he did his thing, because Brandon knew the way that Deb came into his showcase and embarrassed him and took over. That's exactly what Brandon did to Deb. You know what you don't want others to do unto others as you want others to do unto you, because the way Deb took over his thing and made him look bad, Brandon jumped into this situation, asked the right questions, made Deb look bad, where she got up and she walked away. So she lost control in front of her artist, something that she told Brandon not to do, which she did. So Brandon is working his magic. So Deb, I'm so glad Deb is on this show, and she's not just on Love and Hip Hop. I'm glad Brandon's on this show. I like Ayana. I like Shania. I like Bow Wow. I like everybody on the show. Even Reginae. I like Reginae for her attitude, but I wish that she would change one day and be a credible adult. And like, it's interesting. So you need Brandon, you need Ayana, and you need Deb, and you need Bow Wow, and you definitely need the Brat. So anyways, please like, comment, and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. My second video. Whoa.